Good evening, friends. I'm Steve Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live, and we've got a bombshell of information to share with you guys this evening. And it starts off actually, of course, what you saw, Mr. Timothy D. Japhet, who is an attorney at law, is exposing or at least suggesting that George Floyd is a different George Floyd altogether, because the George Floyd he knows has actually passed away. But I have to tell you, and we have invited Miss Hartstrong, Miss Winnie Hartstrong, who's running for Congress in Illinois, onto Israeli News Live, and she's actually agreed to come on. I was supposed to call her this evening, but we ran into some issues there. She actually made some suggestions in one of her videos there about George Floyd is alive, and I want to share that video with you, and then hopefully we can get her on tomorrow to speak about this as well. So let me turn you to this right here. This right here is the Miss Winnie Hartstrong. She is running for Congress in Chicago, Illinois. And here's what she has to say. Let me first make sure we got her volume doing good here. Here's what she has to say about the situation of George Floyd.
Hi there, Dr. Winnie Hartstrong. I'm running for Congress to represent Missouri, and I was born in Minneapolis. This hospital
running in
where
Missouri, I
George Floyd
apologize.
took his last breath is where I took my first breath. So I'm very concerned about what's happening right now in my home state. I wanted to ask a few questions, and the thesis of what I have to say today is George Floyd is alive, prove me wrong. I'm an academic. I've studied rhetoric. There's an actual department of rhetoric to study how to use words and reality toward your own advantage. We've studied Hitler's rhetoric. I've studied all America's founding documents, going all the way to the Declaration of Independence and to President Trump's inaugural addresses. I even wrote a children's book on the president, and I have some things to say about what's happening right now in our country. I am part of the MAGA movement. There's a concerted effort to quash the MAGA movement, but that's not going to happen because there's a worldwide awakening and people around the world are waking up. I have so much to say about this. So George Floyd supposedly is being choked to death, and he's crying out for his mom. We haven't heard anything about the mom. We haven't seen a family photo. We haven't seen any evidence of them together as a cohesive unit. Floyd might be a fake name for all we know. What I know for sure is that there is a Floyd's in South Minneapolis that's a hot spot, a gathering place for African Americans in that city, and it's a barbershop. So if I was going to murder the psyche of a people, I would give this guy a Floyd name. John Floyd, George Floyd. I could get you 10 George Floyds by the end of the day. You know how you do it? You lure in a homeless man, you give him some drugs laced with poison, and you kill him. So that's Exhibit A, George Floyd, okay? The person...
Now I'll put the video there for you there in the links there, so you can watch this yourself. And I apologize, I always have to look around this camera here. But listen, Dr. Hartstrong actually has very compelling information. It was actually through a video that was sent to me by two friends of mine, John Moore, as well as another sister there, Elizabeth, that sent this to me. Sent me this video right here by John X Army 2. And John is, of course, speaking about George Floyd, and he's speaking about exactly what Mr. Attorney at Law Timothy D. Japhet is saying. He's quoting from his website right here. And this attorney here is saying here, so this guy and this guy are the same guy, and he makes a question mark. He was so ravaged from the life, he looked nothing like himself, but yeah, red shirt George Floyd with his sis, that's him. They called him Slow. The man they got in Minnesota, no clue, but Slow was a good guy. I would like to think he would be confused as to why anyone would steal his name. There still has been a reasonable explanation. Surely it's just close names and history. Geez, somebody needs to get the sister. All right, and let me show you. He's showing you this is the real George Floyd, and of course his sister is pictured right here. I assume that's right, or maybe that's a girlfriend, I don't know. But yes, these men do look similar, that is true. But according to the attorney here, he said this guy, speaking of this George Floyd right here, died 3 years ago in Corpus Christi, Texas. So let's read a little bit more. He said, Let me back up a little bit. There still has to be a reasonable explanation. Surely it's just close names and history. Geez, somebody needs to get the sister up front and answering before the autopsy of the guy so much. Everything is too contaminated to sample. Red shirt George Floyd was buried here in the Paupers Cemetery. They cremated the unclaimed, so that's out. Another reason to be nice to your family. Shouldn't our ball cap George DNA match with the sisters? Maybe straighten this out right quick or get another excuse. Now, there's other posts on there, and so I want to take you to the video that was made by John X Army here, so you can see what he says here. Let me share this with you, what he has to say.
To the channel. I have some mind-blowing proof that might change the way you look at the whole George Floyd killing or sacrifice or whatever it was. Attorney Timothy D. Japhet, he came out on his Facebook when he saw what was happening in the media, that George Floyd was killed on camera by a police officer taking a knee on his neck. He came out and he said, "I can't hold my tongue. I have to tell the truth." That was not George Floyd who was killed in Minneapolis. He said, "I was the guardian and attorney of the real George Floyd, and he died 3 years ago in Corpus Christi, Texas." Now, the attorney goes on to say in his Facebook post that George Floyd's real sister came down and was also at the bedside when he died. And the attorney mentions some other people who played football with the real George Floyd 30 years ago. I think it was Texas A&M. But this is a reliable person, an attorney, who has came forward and said that this is all fake, it's all been staged. I know the real George Floyd, and this ain't him. Now, Facebook.
Okay, so with that type of information, we're realizing that there's definitely a scam going on here. And we've been looking into this ourselves, trying to figure out what's what. And as also Dr. Winnie Hartstrong, who's running for Congress, has stated as well. She gives a lot of ideas, and of course, she's not saying this emphatically herself. She's just looking at things that make you question what's really going on. So you can't help but wonder about that. A lot of things that are happening. And by the way, there was something else I wanted to bring up tonight too, and I didn't get a chance to bring it out yet, and that was Carlson Tucker actually just came out and spoke about the coronavirus all being a hoax. Really had an amazing program on that. Maybe I can pull that information up for you while I'm working on some things here. I want to show those something to you. This is kind of really odd. I got an email. I clicked on the link, and when you click on the link, look, you're going to get to see the link just briefly before it is totally wiped out. Let's see. Oops, there it goes. See, it just disappears. Completely wipes off. They're trying to keep people from seeing this information. Well, I screen captured it rapidly so that we could look at this before it just disappeared from my screen again. This is from IntelliHub is the name of the thing. I don't know what the website is because, like I said, it won't work for me to go onto it. Coup on the way. Biden convinced military will escort Trump from the White House with great dispatch. Now, they say right here, former Vice President Joe Biden appeared on Fox News where he may have accidentally let the cat out of the bag per se when alluded that a military deep state coup may be forming behind the scenes and may eventually be headed to the White House to remove President Donald Trump from the Oval Office. He goes so far as to say down here, right in this area, you have so many rank and file. This is quoting him now, quoting Biden, what he says here, Joe Biden. You have so many rank and file military personnel saying, "Whoa, we're not a military state. This is not who we are," he said. "I am absolutely convinced they will escort him from the White House with great dispatch." All right. You know, let me tell you something. If they can't get a riot in this nation to disarm this nation with what they're doing with this alleged death of Floyd, George Floyd, then they're going to do something pretty radical like what you saw there on that article. I don't doubt that a bit in the world. Also, by the way, speaking of our food supply being attacked and stuff, this one here I picked up here in Syria, and of course, once again, this time Turkey is doing it. Last year, the U.S. was dropping incinerator devices on all the Syrian wheat fields, destroying their crops. Now the Turkish are doing it. So, just like in America, they're creating an artificial food crisis, and in Syria, they're trying to starve the people out there as well. What a shame. What a shame that the government does these types of things here. Let's see if we can't pull this up. Carl Tuckerson. Oh, sorry, I meant to do Twitter first here. Probably the easiest way to find him. You know, he did, like I said, an amazing, Carl, how did I end up over there? That was weird. See, as soon as you open something, you click on something, discard. I don't want that. I just wanted to get onto Twitter. Oh, I forgot to click onto that. That's what it was. Carl Duckerson. All right. Well, that didn't work very well either. So, there he is right there. I want to see if I can pull up the broadcast that he just recently did. I just don't know if this is going to work here because he's tweeting out so many things there, but he's talking about the coronavirus. Let me go back and do that. Carl Tuckerson, Corona, and he called it a hoax, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look at there, Centers for Disease Control Prevention. Yeah, they don't want you pulling those type things up, do they? No, they don't. Oh, wow, they're just not going to allow me to look at any of that. All right, let's get rid of the word hoax. Oh, now you ain't going to let me search anything on that, are you? Oh, my gosh. All right, well, I would have loved to have been able to show you this information that he had shared in a broadcast. I believe it was last night where Carl Tuckerson talks about this. But let's see, May 20, okay, maybe this was it here. Let's just see. Sorry, this video is no longer available. Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's the one where they, proof is here. Watch and, yeah, they must have took it down. Oh my gosh. What a shame. He actually comes out and tells the truth about what's going on and you can't even find it. Ah, what a tragedy, guys. Anyway, I'll just real quick, let's see if we can get it up here on YouTube there. Or if anybody else knows about it, maybe you can share this in the comment section for us, for everybody a little bit later there. Let me just see if I can pull him up here, though. Oh my gosh, let's see. I was hoping we could do something on here, but there is no way to do it like this. Let me see if I put Corona in, if it will allow me to do anything, and nope, it's not going to do it. It's just not. Oh well. Anyway, maybe we can find where somebody's copied that at, and okay. Anna, you say YouTube has it. How would I look that up? If Anna, if you've got that on there, you can see that YouTube does have this. How do we look this up? Let's see. Goodness, use the start page. I don't know what a start page is, guys. Let me just go to their. Let's go to their. I don't know if this is their channel or not. Let's see if I can get to it.
There's never been a more critical time.
And one day ago, Trump's approved. That's just Fox. Oh well. Let's see. Let me see, COVID-19. Yes, anybody, I'm trying to see if any, Tucker Carlson. He really did put out an amazing thing there. I'll just have to cut off for now anyway, guys. I don't know how to look for it. I'll try to find it later. Maybe I can share that with you tomorrow. Plus, somebody's playing the piano downstairs. And it's going to get really loud, and it won't do a whole lot of good to say anything at this point anyway. So, oh, so it marked offensive content. But how do I find it is the question. I get, oh, wait, here we go. Let's see, 3 hours ago, 1 day ago, maybe this is the one here.
Millions of Americans remain subjected to unprecedented restrictions on their personal lives, their daily lives, their families' lives. The coronavirus lockdowns continue.
Yeah, I think this is it here. Let's listen
know that because it gets no publicity, but it's true. And if you're living under it, you definitely know. As a result of this, tens of millions of people are now unemployed. A huge number of them have no prospects of working again. Many thousands of small businesses are closed and will never reopen. More Americans have become dependent on drugs and alcohol, seen their marriages dissolve, become clinically depressed. Some of them delayed their weddings. Others were banned by the government from burying their loved ones in funerals. Some Americans will die of cancer because they couldn't get cancer screenings. Some unknown number have taken their own lives in despair. Others have flooded the streets to riot because bottled up rage and frustration take many forms. The cost of shutting down the United States and denying our citizens desperately needed contact with one another is hard to calculate, but the cost has been staggering. The people responsible for doing all of this say they have no regrets about it. We faced a global calamity, they say. COVID-19 was the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu. That flu killed 50 million people. We had no choice. We did the right thing. That's what they're telling us. Is it true? The answer to that question matters not just because the truth always matters, but because the credibility of our leaders is at stake here. This is the biggest decision they have made in our lifetimes. They were able to make it. They rule because we let them. Their power comes from us. So the question now and always is, are they worthy of that power? That's not a conversation they want to have. And right now they don't have to have that conversation because
We're gonna have to go into this, guys, a little bit later to where I can really share some information with you on this, because this is really an amazing interview. So I'll put for you in the description here the link to this video, and because this is what's really going on. I mean, this whole idea that we are in some kind of, well, plandemic, you could call it that, is just a farce. And people need to really, 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 really wake up what's going on. You know what I was thinking too? If, in fact, I don't know if it's the CDC or which one of them actually stated this, but they said that if they're out for protesting, they can do that. They don't have to worry about the social distancing, but if they, otherwise they got to stay at home, right? Really stupid, some of the statements that are coming out about all this. But of course, they're going to say that now this has created the worst possible scenario because of all the protests going on around America. But I was sitting there going to tell you though, if the American people had done the protests that we see over this George Floyd incident, if they had done that over this closing America down, these globalists would never have succeeded. They would have totally had to restart everything back up. So, listen, we got to think about what's going on, really and truly, because this is a globalist agenda. Anyway, I'm Steve Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. Hope you enjoyed the teaching we loaded up earlier. I think it'll be a blessing to many of you. Good evening.